I'm 94 years old and I've lived alone for 18 years. When my husband Walter passed away, people looked at me the way you look at someone standing in the rain without an umbrella. Pity, concern, a little bit of fear. Evelyn, you'll be so lonely. Evelyn, you should move closer to your son. Evelyn, you can't stay in that house all by yourself. Well, it's been 18 years. I never moved. I still live in this same little brick house with the creaky hallway floor and the kitchen window that sticks in winter. And I am perfectly, completely, quietly fine. I'm not lonely. Truthfully, I never have been. Now, don't misunderstand me. I miss Walter. 50 years of marriage doesn't just fade into wallpaper, but missing someone and being lonely are two very different things. I didn't understand that when I was young. I do now. And I think there are more people like me than the world realizes. People who are content in their own company but feel defective because everyone insists they should want constant noise, constant company, constant activity. So today, I want to share what these 18 quiet years have taught me. Not because I have all the answers. At 94, I'm still learning. But maybe something I've learned will settle someone else's heart. The first thing, and this one matters most, is understanding that alone and lonely are not the same creature, not even cousins. You can sit by yourself in a silent house and feel peaceful, and you can stand in a crowded room with laughter bouncing off the walls and feel completely invisible. I've experienced both. Loneliness isn't about the number of people around you. It's about whether you feel seen, known, understood. You can have that with one person, just one, a weekly phone call, a neighbor who truly listens. That can be enough. And you can lack it in a room full of acquaintances who only know your surface. So instead of asking, "Am I alone too much?" ask something different. Do I feel connected in a way that matters? Those are not the same question. I speak with my son Michael every Sunday afternoon. Not long, maybe 20 minutes. Sometimes less if his grandchildren are running wild in the background. That's enough for me. Some people need daily visits. That's all right. Some people need noise to feel alive. That's all right too. But don't assume your needs are wrong just because they're quieter. You might need less than you think. The second lesson I learned is this: build your own rhythm. When you live with someone for decades, your days are stitched together with their habits, their hunger, their sleep, their moods. Walter liked breakfast at 6 sharp, eggs, always eggs. I wasn't hungry until 7, but I made them anyway. After he died, I kept waking at 6 out of habit. I'd stand in the kitchen staring at the stove and realize I didn't have to. I could sleep another hour. I could have toast instead. I could eat dinner at 8 if I wanted. It felt strange at first, almost disloyal, as though changing my routine meant erasing him. But it didn't. It meant I was still alive. So now I wake at 7:30. I make coffee. 1 spoon of sugar, not 2 like Walter preferred. I sit in the armchair by the front window and watch the morning light creep across the street. It's not dramatic, it's not exciting, but it anchors me. When you live alone, days can blur into one long stretch of sameness if you're not careful. A routine gives shape to time. It tells your mind, today counts. That's not loneliness, that's intention. Third, have something that depends on you. For me, it's my little terrier, Daisy. She's 9 years old, bossy, and convinced the world revolves around her walk schedule. If I'm late, she stares at me like I've personally offended her ancestors. Some mornings when my knees ache and the sky is gray, I might be tempted to stay in bed longer. But Daisy needs her walk. She needs her breakfast. She needs me. And that matters. It doesn't have to be a dog. It could be plants on a windowsill, a garden you tend, birds you feed, even a weekly volunteer shift somewhere small, something living that expects you to show up. Because there will be days when your own motivation isn't enough. On those days, responsibility can carry you when feelings cannot. I also keep a little notebook on my coffee table. I write down small observations: the first robin of spring, the day the maple tree changed color, the exact afternoon I noticed my roses blooming earlier than usual. It may sound trivial, but paying attention keeps the world from shrinking. When you live alone, it's easy to retreat into your thoughts, and sometimes your thoughts aren't kind. So notice the outside world, record it, participate in it, even quietly. Fourth, be selective with your energy. This one took me years to accept without guilt. When you're young, you think more is better. More friends, more events, more invitations. But at 94, I can tell you, depth beats volume every time. I have two close friends, Clara, who I've known since we were 30, and Ruth, my neighbor across the street. That's it. We don't talk every day. We don't attend endless gatherings. But when we sit together with tea, we speak honestly about aches, about fear, about memories we can't quite hold on to anymore. I would rather have 2 real conversations a month than 20 polite ones where I perform a cheerful version of myself. If you're someone who feels drained by constant socializing, you're not defective. You're discerning. Protect your social energy. Spend it where it nourishes you. And finally, perhaps the hardest lesson of all, you must learn to like your own company. When you live alone, there's no escape from yourself, your habits, your thoughts, your regrets. If you don't make peace with who you are, solitude will feel like punishment. I spent years believing I was too quiet, too reserved. I'd compare myself to women who hosted large dinners and seemed endlessly animated. I thought I was missing something. I wasn't. I just prefer calm. I like reading in the afternoon sun. I like going to bed early. I like silence between words. And at some point, I stopped apologizing for that. If you're struggling, ask yourself gently, are you lonely? Or do you simply believe you should be? Those are very different struggles. One requires connection, the other requires permission. Permission to live smaller, softer, slower. I miss Walter every day. There's still an empty side of the bed. Sometimes I catch myself turning to comment on something and remember he isn't there. Grief doesn't vanish, but grief and loneliness are not twins. I carry him in my habits, in my recipes, in the way I still fold laundry the precise way he liked. And I also carry my own life forward. My son worries I'm isolated. I understand why. The world equates quiet with sadness. But I am not sad. I have Daisy at my feet. I have my morning coffee. I have 2 dear friends. I have Sunday phone calls and birthday visits and photographs that remind me I was once young and brave and loud. I have enough, more than enough, truly. Some people are built for crowds. Some are built for calm. If you're the second kind, don't let anyone convince you that you are incomplete. You are not broken. You are not missing out on something universal. You are simply tuned to a different frequency. And quiet, real quiet, can be a rich, steady, beautiful life if you allow it. So if I had to gather everything these 18 years have taught me into simple thoughts, it would be this. Know the difference between being alone and being lonely. Create a rhythm that makes your days meaningful. Care for something outside yourself. Choose people who feel like home, and learn to enjoy the sound of your own thoughts. That's all I have to offer. It's nearly 4 o'clock and Daisy is already staring at me, which means she believes I'm late for our walk. At 94, I've learned to listen when something needs me. Take care of yourself and don't be afraid of quiet.